Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, the Brooke Ashley, and today we are here to discuss The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, Season 2, Episode 16. And when I tell you guys, the disappointment of Mary not showing up to this reunion really has me so upset. It's a bit painful to keep going forward watching the show because we already know that this reunion is not going to be as lit or as entertaining without Mary. But y'all, let me not go on and on about that. Let's just jump right on into this recap because we don't have a minute to spare. We start this episode off with all of the husbands, and we never see the husbands start off any episode in any franchise, so this was definitely a first. But anyhow, all the husbands except for Coach Shah are out playing golf together, and Whitney's husband Justin goes on to ask all the guys if they've gotten any of their wives' Mother's Day gifts. So they're all like, when is Mother's Day? Like, no, not yet. So he suggests that they all chip in to send their women away for a girls' trip. So they're all like, okay, sounds good. And then the rules are the losers of this golf game have to pay for this trip. So now we move on to the next scene and we see Heather at the spa. Then we see Jen Shah and we find out that Heather wants to have a spa day for Jen as a way of getting her mind off all of her troubles. While this can be looked at as a very nice gesture, I'm just confused as to why Heather is determined to do all of these super grandiose things for Jen. Like, remember how Jen has treated you in the past? I'm not understanding why you're just so eager to please. Again, I feel like Heather does a lot of these things to get that, see what a good friend I am. She wants the accolades of being seen as a good person. I don't feel like it's truly genuine. You get what I'm saying? It just seems like she's doing it for praise. But anyhow, they go outside, they're at the pool, and it was really nice because they had a fabulous spread and some champagne. And you guys know that I love some good food and some good champagne. My two weaknesses in life. If you're a new subscriber, you will notice that throughout these recaps, I will always discuss the food. Always, without fail. So get used to it and make sure that you have a good snack when you're watching me, okay? So Heather and Jen start talking. And side note, Jen, I don't know what's going on with you and these wigs, but no, ma'am.
No.
They don't look good. They look terrible. I'm like, I know that money's tight, sis, but you don't have to look like you're down on your luck. So Heather says, every time you come around when we're at a group setting, it always seems to be drama and I want you to have a good time. Then she goes on to ask Jen, what did she think about Meredith defending her? So Jen's like, yeah, I was taken aback by that. And I was also surprised when Meredith was like, you guys need to be better friends to Jen, but I can't be that. Jen says that she's confused by it. And again, Jen, the way that you treated people all last season was unacceptable. People have the right to no longer want to be your friend. And you need to deal with that. You were sitting there making jokes about her son. You were tweeting things about her son. You were reposting things about her son. So you don't have the right to tell Meredith how to feel about that. I just see a very insecure person when I see Jen Shah. I think that she's very concerned about what people think about her, and all that yelling and all that rah-rah stuff, that's all for show. So of course, Heather has to be even messier, and she's like, well, did you get invited to Seth's party? And Jen's like, no, because Meredith is a bitch. Now, Heather, you already know that Meredith does not like Jen. So why are you going to ask Jen if she was invited to Meredith's husband's party? Let's think about that for like 3 seconds. Common sense would tell you that the answer is most likely no. So now Jen starts talking about Mary, and she says how nobody calls her out for her racially insensitive comments. And then, of course, here comes Heather Did you know what she said in Vail? Lisa told me that she told her that you see what happens when you mess with my church, you go to jail in regards to you. Do you think that she had something to do with your arrest? Jen says, I wouldn't put it past her. So now Heather brings up how Mary and Meredith were not on the bus when they were going to Vail. And she goes on to say, I don't know how anybody knew that we were going to be at Beauty Lab. First of all, y'all both sound like idiots. What are y'all talking about? This is the FBI, Homeland Security. You guys know that they can find you at any time if they want to, right? Nobody needed Mary or Meredith's help in finding Jen. They were tracking Jen for years. There was an investigation on her for years. They decided that day that they were finally going to arrest her. They knew exactly where Jen was. Heather, you're really reaching for a storyline, and it's embarrassing to watch. Season 3, since Mary is not on the show, let's see what your storyline is. Because you're really looking stupid. You and your cousin Whitney. It's enough. Every single episode, you have to bring Mary up. You can't keep that lady's name out your mouth. Now we jump over to Seth's birthday party. And it was really nice because Meredith had it on a rooftop. So you have the bar, you have the hors d'oeuvres being passed around. DJ's there. There's a woman dancing in the pool. Miss Meredith is committed to a blazer because she showed up in this blazer, sequin, short mini dress. And I have to say it did work on her. She had the girls out on full display. And I was like, okay, sis, come through. But it is so funny to me how Meredith does not deviate too far from what she always wears on a regular basis. She will always be in some sort of blazer. So we see Whitney arrive with Justin, and then she goes straight to her cousin, Heather, and she's like, hey, girl, do you know if Meredith invited Jen? And Heather's like, no, she didn't. So then Whitney says, I feel like there's a bigger picture in all of this. I don't understand why y'all are making the biggest deal about this. Why do you guys seem to be so pressed about Meredith not liking Jen? Why do y'all care so much? We see Mary arrive. Honey, she's at the bar ordering a glass of wine. I couldn't stop laughing because Jenny and Dewey were at a table like super close to the bar. So when Mary was standing there, Dewey says hello to Mary and he's like, hi, Mary, how are you doing? And Mary gives the driest answer. She was not feeling either of them. And then in Mary's confessional, she says that she's ignoring Jenny because Jenny deserves to be ignored. The way I am just so upset that we are not going to be able to see Mary versus Jenny at this reunion. It is really killing me inside, y'all. I don't think you guys understand. I'm really upset by this whole thing. And I'm also praying that this is Jenny's first and last season. All right? So let's all pray together because I know that a lot of you guys feel the same way that I feel regarding Jenny. So while the party's going on, we see Meredith and Mary go over to the side to have a conversation. So of course, all the other ladies are staring at them and wondering what they're talking about. So Meredith starts asking Mary how she felt after Whitney's party. Mary says, honestly, I felt like these are not my real friends. And Mary, you're absolutely correct. None of those ladies, except for Meredith, are your friends. Then Meredith says that she understands why Mary feels that way. And then she says that it felt like they were all attacking you. So she adds on that nobody's perfect, nobody gets it right 100% of the time, and everybody is prone to saying ignorant things. Meredith continues by saying that although Jenny's feelings are 100% valid, her trying to give back the shoes and embarrass Mary even more was uncalled for. Mary agrees and she says, if it was so culturally offensive of me giving you those shoes, then you should have never accepted them in the first place. You should have turned it down when we were in Vail. And I said, Mary, although I don't agree with you often, I agree with you right there. Because absolutely, Jenny wanted a moment, just like I said in last week's recap. She did that on purpose. She knew good and damn well that she was excited to get those shoes. Like I said, I can't stand Jenny. She adds nothing to this show. She's just not giving what the girl said she was supposed to have gave, in the words of the iconic Rolling Ray. So Meredith says, "Did you tell Jenny that the shoes were originally for Jen?" And Mary says, "No, I told Lisa that, but of course Lisa had to run and tell with her big mouth. That's the only reason why she knew in the first place." Meredith is in shock. She's like, why would Lisa run and tell that? Like, why couldn't she just keep her mouth shut? So Mary says, look, I honestly feel like Lisa's jealous of our friendship and she's trying to make me out to be this bad person. Mary then adds in her confessional that Lisa is super vindictive and how she's not this nice person like she wants to portray. Now, we already knew that. I peeped game immediately. I already knew what type of time Lisa Barlow was on from season 1, episode 1. Lisa is a two-faced snake. I will keep saying that. And she's going to align herself with whoever she thinks is going to keep her on this show. Period, point blank. Meredith agrees with Mary, and she adds that even with the whole Jen situation, Lisa tried to make it seem like Meredith was a bad person because she didn't want to be friends with Jen anymore. So now they finish their conversation and they all start wishing Seth a happy birthday. And now Dewey gives a speech and lets everybody know that when the guys were playing golf the other day, they all made a bet that whoever lost had to pay for a girls' getaway trip for their Mother's Day present. So Dewey says that he and John lost the golf game, so they're going to be paying for this trip for all the ladies. Dewey lets them know that they're going to be staying in a fabulous villa in Zion, and they leave for their trip on Monday. So now Jenny goes on to ask her husband if Jen Shah is included in these plans as well. Dewey says yes, Coach Shah was in on this as well, so Jen will be there. Meredith is upset. She's like, oh great, like I did not plan to spend my Mother's Day weekend with Jen Shah. Again, Meredith, y'all are on this show together. You guys are contractually obligated to be around each other and film scenes together. So I don't understand why you're still trying to press this issue or act like Jen is going to be excluded from all these group activities. You know you can ignore Jen, right? Like, you shouldn't be this pressed about her coming to any event. You don't speak to her when she is around, so why are you so upset about that? There's 7 ladies in this group. Talk to everybody but Jen. Like, that shouldn't be that difficult. So while the party's going on, we flip to a short scene with Jen, Shah, and Sharrieff. They're at home and they're doing some like couples therapy painting activity. And while they're painting, they're discussing house hunting. Because remember, with all their legal bills mounting at the tune of $2 million, they need to move out of this expensive rental ASAP. So Jen says, babe, I went house shopping the other day and this house just was a no. It was only 2 bedrooms, too small, like we just can't do that. So Coach Shah's like, it's okay, babe, keep looking, like it's fine. I said, honestly, Jen, you need to be telling your realtor, can you find us a 3 or 4 bedroom at a decent price immediately? Like, you seem to be dragging your feet with this. I don't know why you are still trying to hold on to this house that you're in right now. At the end of the day, it's a rental. You've only been in this rental for 3 to 6 months, so you're not that attached to it. I need you to get it through your head that you guys do not have money. It just is what it is. I also think that you'd be smart if you would start selling some of your bags and shoes. That's a good way to make some money. Chanel's and Birkins always appreciate in value. I already know that you don't have any jewelry because your former assistant in the documentary exposed that all of your jewelry, especially your statement pieces, were rented. So stick to selling some bags and shoes. Hopefully you make a cute coin off of that. And please stop with these delusions about trying to stay in this rental. I know Sharrieff is saying, I should have got out when I had the chance. Oh!
Shout out to everybody. I had fun.
I gotta be good.
So now the conversation changes gears, and Sharrieff lets Jen know that he spoke to Justin, Whitney's husband, and he was informed that all the ladies are going on a girls' trip for Mother's Day weekend. So she's like, oh, really? Am I invited? Sharrieff says, yes, you are. You're invited. You're included. Don't worry. And she's surprised because she's like, well, you know that we weren't invited to Seth's birthday party that's going on right now, right? So Coach Shah says, look, it is what it is. You and Meredith have been beefing for quite some time. Meredith is upset at what you did to her last year, so she didn't invite us. It's not the end of the world. I really love how Sharrieff's attitude was just so nonchalant about not getting an invite to Seth's party. Honestly, he was probably thinking, we have way bigger fish to fry than worrying about some invite to this party. So now we switch back over to Seth's party, and it's time for the cake. Baby, I screamed because the cake was Whitney's boobs. And the cake was cute and stuff, but everybody was shocked. Mary was like, it should not be Whitney's boobs on that cake. It needs to be your wife Meredith's boobs. Like, Meredith has a great rack too. We see a short montage of Seth referencing Whitney's breasts every single time. He loves Whitney's breasts. He wants Meredith's breasts to look just like Whitney's. I was like, Seth, are you okay? I said, Seth, it's getting to be overboard now. I don't mind a good joke. Meredith seems to be very secure, but sometimes it's like, all right now, like, you said the joke once, let's not get carried away. I think that Meredith has a great pair of breasts herself, so I don't know why he's so fixated on his friend's wife's breasts. Like, what's wrong with you? I said, Seth, you're doing a bit too much now. Tone it down and keep it cute. So now we see Lisa with her husband, and they're talking to a few of the other guests at the party. And Lisa's like, I'm a New York and Miami girl, but like I also love Chicago too. And you know what's really funny? My older sister dated John. How crazy is that? But they didn't have sex or anything. They just like kissed once, maybe a makeout, but they didn't have sex, or else that would have been really weird. I said, child, I said, you can't trust anybody, can you? Even your sister wants your man. Then Lisa says in her confessional, when my sister found out that me and John were engaged, she had some choice words for me. And Lisa, I was screaming at how you were trying to defend yourself on Twitter all last night. You were tweeting how it sounds worse than it actually is, how your sister and John only went on one date and that's what it was. It was never dating. They were never in a relationship, so he was fair game. So I was like, well, why didn't you just say that in the episode? You had me and everybody else thinking that your older sister was in a full-blown relationship with John, and then all of a sudden they broke up, and then you swooped in. If it was just a date, then that's fine. I know some people who would be like, no, absolutely not, but I think a date, it wasn't any relationship, nothing really happened. If it did happen, it was still just a date, a one-night stand. So I guess, Lisa, it's not the worst thing in the world. But next time, girl, just say that and don't make us think that it was something more salacious than it really was. So now we see Whitney and Heather questioning Meredith about why she did not invite Jen to Seth's party. Meredith is like, no, I didn't want to invite her. It's not that deep. Can y'all stop asking me this? So now Whitney's like, is there more to the story that you don't want to tell us? Meredith says, look, I've said enough as it is. I don't want to say anything more. And all I will say is that Jen is somebody who's in a lot of pain. If I were Meredith, I would have told Whitney and Heather off, don't ever question me about why I didn't invite somebody to my husband's party. That is not your place. That is not your business. Drink, eat, and have a good time and worry about yourself. I didn't like how they were trying to tag team Meredith and make her feel guilty about not inviting somebody that she doesn't care for. And I'm still confused as to why the two of them have so much grace for Jen, but have all this smoke for Mary. It doesn't make sense. Now we see Seth jumping into the pool with all his clothes on, and then he pushes his wife in the pool, and everybody else joins in on the fun too. Listen, I'm all for a good time. I love to swim, but do not push me into a pool when I am fully clothed and my face is beat and my hair is done. Like, don't do that. First of all, that's not safe. That's not funny. Like, unless I want to get in the pool, I'll get in the pool. Like, I don't need you to push me in there. I just didn't like that. And you could tell that Meredith was kind of annoyed because she was like, damn, like I spent all this money on this outfit and now it's all ruined. Like, don't push me into a pool. Now we get to the final scene of this episode and we see all the ladies arriving to the bus to head to Zion. This is the same bus and the same driver that they had when they were going to Vail. So Jen Shah shows up, Jenny shows up, Lisa, Whitney, and Heather arrive, and they're all super excited, but they all joke around and say that they have PTSD from their last bus trip. Because remember how Jen got on the bus, but she didn't stay on the bus because she was arrested. So now everybody starts bringing up how Meredith and Mary both weren't on the bus for the Vail trip, and then Jenny reveals out of nowhere that Meredith hired a private investigator to keep an eye on Jen. So now Jen is livid. She's like, wait, what? Like, why would she do that? So now Heather interjects and says, look, the reason why Meredith hired a PI was because her kids were getting threatening messages and she thought that you were behind it. So tell me why Jen turns to Lisa and starts screaming at Lisa. She's like, why wouldn't you tell me about this? Like, you didn't say anything. Why don't you ever call your friend of 10 years out? So Lisa says, look, don't take this out on me, okay? I don't spy on people. I do not dig up dirt on people. That's not me. Take that up with Meredith. Don't take it up with me. I had nothing to do with Meredith getting a PI. So, of course, Jen starts screaming and yelling and spiraling out of control. And I need Jen to stop doing that. Stop screaming at people. You're a grown woman. These are all grown women too. Stop screaming at folks like you don't have good sense. And you're lucky that you're on this franchise because had you pulled all that screaming and yelling like that somewhere else, you would have gotten checked real fast. I really hate how Jen has these crazy tantrums like she's a child. She's got to stop that. She goes from 0 to 100 in like 3 seconds. It's not cute. And she's always trying to place blame on everybody else except taking accountability for her actions. Meredith had every right to investigate Jen and make sure that she wasn't behind those messages to her children. Jen was saying a lot of crazy stuff, talking out the side of her neck all last season. She was calling all of them racist and calling them all everything but a child of God. So of course, Jen is screaming about how Meredith has slandered her name. No, sis, you did that to yourself by frauding old people and getting caught doing it. You have ruined your own name. You cannot blame Meredith for the poor choices that you've made. Then she yells out that it's not her fault that Meredith had an affair. I said, girl, you are just so lame for that. Like, you really wanted a moment. I'm like, sis, you're facing up to 70 years in jail and you want to throw somebody else under the bus about some alleged affair. I thought that Meredith already discussed that her and Seth had been dating other people when they were legally separated last season. That wasn't any big surprise. So now Jen keeps screaming at the top of her lungs and she says that Lisa treats her differently and she treats Meredith a lot better. I'm like, again, her and Meredith have history. They've been great friends for 10 years. So of course their dynamic is going to be a lot different than your dynamic, okay? Lisa was never a true friend to you. I don't understand why you never saw that. She only got close to you to have a storyline and to keep her spot on this show. She was never out to really be your friend. And you're the dummy for even thinking that. Then Lisa says that she has chosen sides and how she actually chose Jen over her good friend Meredith, which was a very stupid move in my opinion. So Lisa and Jen are going back and forth. The conversation is getting even more and more escalated. Jen's voice is just getting higher and higher and higher. And now she starts screaming directly in Lisa's face. Lisa says, I'm not going backwards with you, Jen. Like, it's enough. Like, I'm not going backwards. I'm shutting down right now. I can't take this. Please sit down. Get out of my face. And baby, we see Jen walking towards Lisa like she's ready to fight. Lisa gets up. She's screaming in Jen's face. And it looks like she's trying to like push Jen away from her. And then we see the screen say, to be continued. A hot, raggedy mess. Jen, this is not the best look for you with all that you have going on. I don't understand why that conversation went left so fast. For you to get mad at Lisa like that, I'm not even a Lisa fan, but I was like, well, damn, Lisa did not deserve all that. Y'all, I'm just getting tired of hearing the same old thing, episode after episode. Jen's crying and whining about Meredith. Heather and Whitney are trying to pin everything on Mary. I'm just not liking it. And it makes it more upsetting, like I said in the beginning, that Mary has bailed on the reunion, so we won't even be getting the satisfaction of Mary addressing all these ladies talking about her like a dog. But y'all, that was the episode. I hope you all enjoyed my recap. Thank you all for watching, and as always, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all later. Bye.